Welcome back to the Dylan Shea channel. Today I'll be talking about things we learnt, we saw, things we can expect to see after game week 1 in the Premier League. I've already done a video on Arsenal already, you should check that out. Did a match reaction to their game against Crystal Palace, basically saying how impressive I thought they were. But let's just go on to the next topic. I have 5 games in particular or 5 topics that I will sort of discuss, and then we'll talk about a few of the other things in short, really, at the end. Let's start off with Fulham versus Liverpool. Now, I want to talk about Fulham more than I do want to talk about Liverpool, because I felt Fulham were more good than Liverpool were bad, basically. And I think Liverpool will get a lot of the headlines, whereas Fulham probably won't. So I just want to talk about Fulham. I thought they were really impressive. They sort of played the way I'd expect Liverpool to play. Liverpool played with an arrogance, really. I'll discuss that in a bit. But Fulham played as if they're fed up, basically, of getting relegated. They just played, really, with a mentality that we're not going down this year. And they just pressed. They didn't stop running for 90 minutes. I think the midfield and the centre-back, is it Tim Ream? I think that's his name. Set the tone. He was incredible. He was always just pushing up on Firmino or the midfielders of Liverpool, and the midfield of Fulham. You know, it just they brought in Palhinha. He was linked with teams that are a lot better than Fulham, and you know that was my first time watching him play, and I thought he was incredible. Actually, Palhinha completed 6 tackles against Liverpool. So impressive. I mean, his tackling accuracy was just didn't miss a tackle. I didn't see him miss one tackle. Reed as well in midfield was really good for Fulham. And obviously the new signing, the man from Man United, well, not directly from there, but the man who played for Man United, Pereira, thought he was really good. There was a moment where he missed a chance and it cut to him and he just sprint back straight away. So, you know, that sort of summed up the mentality of Fulham going into this game. I thought there was moments in the final third where he lacked that ability, which is what you can expect from Pereira. But yeah, the midfield of Fulham really did really well. I thought players like Robinson as well, I thought he was excellent towards the second half. I thought he lost his positioning a little bit for the Liverpool's first goal, where Salah gives it to Nunez. You know, he got sucked in, which gave Salah that space in behind him. But apart from that, really, I thought he was excellent. The wingers were, of course, very good. Bobby Reed and Cabano. I thought they were very good. But let's talk about the main player. Let's talk about Mitrovic. I mean, wow. You know, people asked questions whether he could do it in the Premier League. Can he make the step up? And, you know, he had a task against the best defender in the world in Virgil van Dijk, who struggled, by the way. I have never seen Van Dijk struggle more against a player. There was a moment in the game where Mitrovic shrugged Jordan Henderson off, which is a difficult thing to do, and then Cruyff turned Van Dijk. I mean, I've never seen Van Dijk struggle that much. Obviously, the penalty as well. Mitrovic won the penalty. It was Van Dijk that tackled him. You know, Van Dijk looked. Mitrovic just had him on toast, basically. I mean, I just couldn't believe what I was watching. First goal, I mean, he absolutely bullied Trent Alexander-Arnold at the back post. Obviously, Trent could have done better. Trent didn't really look behind him to see if anyone was there. We know he's not the best defender in the world. He probably has to do better there, to be honest. But, I mean, it was always a tough mission to keep Mitrovic out. I mean, that header was Ronaldo. Like, I mean, he just crawled on his back and just headed it in. Powerful header, unstoppable, really. But he was just an absolute thorn in that Liverpool side. He could have not scored, and I think he would have had a great game. He had 50 touches, which is more than what Harry Kane had on the weekend, more than Jesus, who played really well. So he had more touches than them. He was just so involved in the game for Fulham, and he really was that focal point that they needed, really. You know, he committed 4 fouls. Yeah, just crucial for Fulham to get them out. and win free kicks in vital areas and just bullied those Liverpool players, really. He won 18 duels as well. 18 duels he won. He was an absolute monster out there on the weekend. There's a fly in my room. Let's talk about Liverpool a little bit, because I was very disappointed in them, to be honest. As much as I thought Fulham were good, Liverpool weren't great either. I mean, I think that's the first time I've ever seen Liverpool rock up to a place and just think they're going to win. They just didn't turn up. They just played with an arrogance, and there's a difference between an arrogance and a confidence. A confidence is when, you don't just turn up to a place thinking you'll win, but knowing you're good enough to win and playing like it. They just played with an arrogance, as if they didn't have to put in that effort, and that they would just steamroll Fulham, which obviously didn't happen. I mean, they didn't even deserve to get a point from that, in my opinion. But Matip was good. I mean, he made 2 runs where he just ran about 30 yards, which was impressive. I thought the midfield got completely outran. Henderson, and who played in midfield with him? Fabinho and someone else as well. Thiago obviously got injured, but they just got completely outran in midfield. The Fulham midfield just pressured them, kept pressuring them. Liverpool players lost the ball. Just not a good day at the office for Liverpool, really. Thought Firmino was really poor. I thought he was poor in the Community Shield, and that's twice. Let's talk about him. Darwin and Núñez. There's still a fly in my room. Let's talk about Darwin Núñez, because, I mean, he came on twice. He's done it now, and changed the game for Liverpool. Came on, scored. His movement and his pace is absolutely frightening. When Mo Salah had that ball on the wing, that run at the front post is not an easy one to do. You really need a intelligence sort of to do that. And I can see that movement of Salah across the box to Núñez. I can see that happening quite a lot. I really can. I think that could be really, really dangerous. But he's just a nuisance, isn't he? I mean, you'd hate to play against him. The ball is just, wherever the ball was, he was there in the box. He just looks a fantastic player. He could have got 2 assists, could have got 2 goals, but he did get a goal and an assist. And that's now 90 minutes of football, basically a full game, and he's got 2 goals, 1 assist for Liverpool. I do think he has to start next game for Liverpool. I don't think Firmino should start. I think it should be Núñez. He's proved now that he deserves that chance. Let's talk about Spurs versus Southampton now, and obviously you can see on the thumbnail, I mentioned Kulusevski. We'll get on to him. I want to talk about the 2 midfielders for Spurs. I thought they were really, really good. Ooh, voice crack. I thought they were fantastic. Højbjerg just, he's a captain in that Spurs side. If Lloris wasn't captain, I think it would be Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I know some people would say Kane, but for me it would be Højbjerg. He was good on the day, but Bentancur, he's just so press-proof. He's so calm on the ball. He's just everything that Antonio Conte wants in a midfielder. But yeah, what I love about Bentancur is he's so calm on the ball. He can play forward passes, can pick a pass through the lines as well. Keeps the ball, doesn't ever lose it. But he does both sides of the game. He really does. When you compare him to Tanguy Ndombele, who was at the club, does he have as much ability on the ball as Ndombele? I don't think he has that as much natural ability, but he just puts in so much more effort, and I think Spurs fans really appreciate that. There's moments in the game where Southampton had a bit of a counter-attack, and he just sprints back as fast as he can and makes a cracking slide tackle. And I think that is Bentancur. He does both sides of the game and has just been so important for Spurs. Obviously, if you see the thumbnail, like I said, you'll see that, I mentioned, is Dejan Kulusevski one of the best in the league? Now, if you're not a Spurs fan, I think you would have been waiting to see if he can do it again this season. Maybe you thought that was just a purple patch. But Spurs fans know this guy is good. This guy is very, very good. Now, it's not just a front two at Spurs anymore. It really is a front three. Only Kane and Son have more goals and assists than Kulusevski since he joined the club. He's just so intelligent. He's just so intelligent. So important to Spurs. He had 8 assists last season and 5 goals from January, which is ridiculous. I think that's the most. I think he has the most assists in 2022 in the Premier League. He's got an assist, an amazing cross for Ryan Sessegnon, and a cracking goal as well, which he made look really, really easy. You know, this is going to be controversial, but I do think he is one of the best in the league, wingers-wise. You know, if you were to ask me, do I want Foden at Spurs or Kulusevski, I would take Kulusevski at the right wing. If Mahrez, would I take? No, I would keep Kulusevski. If you were to ask me, do you want Sterling? I would say no, I'm happy with Kulusevski. I think a lot of people would disagree with that probably, but he is incredible. I really think he is one of the best wingers in the Premier League. He also had 3 key passes versus Southampton. You know, there was a brilliant pass he played to Ryan Sessegnon, who I do want to talk about as well, because, I mean, he was absolutely incredible for Southampton against Southampton. Like I said, he had that chance. He just looked really, really sharp. He looked really physically good. He was rapid. He looked much quicker than last year and the season before that. His tackling was great. His defending was great. On the ball, he looked good. Obviously, got the goal. But there was an offside goal as well from Ryan Sessegnon where he just slotted it really well. He just ran down the line and slotted it bottom corner. And I don't think you would have seen that last year. So I really think he's a player to look out for Spurs. Could he be on for a massive year? You know, we knew he has all the potential. And he hasn't quite delivered at Spurs yet. But, you know, if someone can get the best out of him, it is Antonio Conte. And if he keeps playing like that, then I think Conte will be a very, very happy man. It was interesting, actually, because Ryan Sessegnon did say that Perisic is helping him arriving late in the box, or arriving at the right time in the box, not to be late, not to be early, getting there and scoring. So it's interesting to see that he's learning from, you know, one of the most experienced players in the game in Ivan Perisic, and just proves why that signing is a very good one for Spurs. I want to talk about Southampton a little bit as well. James Ward-Prowse obviously getting his usual goal against Spurs, always delivers against Spurs, did it last year when Southampton beat Spurs 3-2. He was crucial in that game. Beautiful goal, really good goal, great technique on it. I thought Kyle Walker-Peters was promising for Southampton. I thought he was really good, made a great tackle on Ryan Sessegnon. Probably the tackle of the game. I thought he was just good defensively. I thought he was good. You know, Son didn't really get that many chances, so I thought he played well. But Southampton, I don't know what it is. They just have moments of like defensive chaos where you just think, what on earth am I watching? You know, that Salis third goal. What is Salisu doing? Get rid of it. He could have hit. He could have hit it with his right foot. He could have took a touch. There was no pressure on him. He could have hit a different part with his left foot. He could have done anything but what he did, and it would have not been a goal. You know, I thought that was really poor from Salisu, to be honest. And Southampton defensively didn't look great, like they usually don't. I'm sure Hasenhüttl will be feeling the pressure now for Southampton. A first game in, I know. I don't think he should be like anywhere near sacked, but I think he will. I think he will be feeling the pressure a little bit, especially going into the next game. Now let's move on to Manchester City. I thought they were incredible, to be honest. It really reminded me of that Pep Barcelona team, this performance. The way they kept the ball, the way they just controlled the game, the tiki-taka, especially in the second half. And I thought that a lot of it came down to Rodri at midfield. That performance is definitely the closest thing I've ever seen to Sergio Busquets. Not saying he's as good, calm down, just as close as I've seen anyone to Sergio Busquets. And I mean, he's really become a phenomenal player for Man City. Is he the best defensive midfielder in the Premier League? Probably. He probably is at the moment. I just thought he was excellent. He never lost the ball. Just always kept it simple. Just a magnificent player now for Man City. He had 110 touches. You know, I think De Bruyne had around 80. Gundogan had around 80. You know, he just completely controlled that game with Gundogan. I thought Gundogan was very good as well. But Rodri he just controlled that game, especially the second half. I mean, everything just came through him, really. So let's talk about the man himself, Erling Haaland. For me, I really think he's going to be one of the best strikers ever, if not the best. I said it when he was at Dortmund. His first game, I seen the highlights for his first game at Dortmund, and I thought, there's just something about him. He's just so instinctively a striker. I'm not sure if I've seen a more instinctive striker in my life than Erling Haaland. His runs are perfect. His positioning is perfect. His concentration. I don't think people understand. Well, they probably do, but they don't think about it enough. How concentrated you have to be ready for any situation in the box. And he's always there. You know, if there's a shot and the keeper parries it, he's there. A run, he always makes. He always makes a run across the front post. We've seen it. Probably, he was very disappointed in himself. We saw in the interview after the game. His movement is just spectacular. And when you accompany all of that with the fact that he's 6'4", he's so strong. I mean, we've seen what he did to Robertson in the the Community Shield. There was a moment in this game where he just sort of shrugged a player off. We did it a few times. And he's absolutely rapid. He's so quick. I can see that ball, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva slotted in behind for Haaland. He chases. And he's also just so clinical. He's so clinical. He's going to get so many goals at Man City. If he can stay fit, he's going to get so many goals. But now, that sort of pace in behind, that is going to worry defenders. You know, defenders are going to have to drop back a little bit more for Erling Haaland, which creates more space for De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, in and around the box. I think Erling Haaland is a massive problem for the Premier League, for defenders. You know, he's one of them players, if you see him one-on-one, when you seen him one-on-one yesterday for the second goal, it's a bit like Harry Kane. It's a goal. There's no denying it's a goal. You might as well give up hope there because he's going to finish it, and that's exactly what he did. It was a very comfortable game for Man City. I didn't think West Ham delivered anything really, apart from 15 minutes of pressure. I was quite disappointed. I expected a bit more. I know they're a defensive team. I have nothing wrong with that. You know, some teams play differently, and it's obviously worked for West Ham, being a more defensive team. They have the players for it. You know, that size and determination and defensive ability in midfield. Obviously, they are going to play a bit deeper, a bit more defensive. But, I mean, they didn't offer anything. I thought that was a mix of them being worried of Man City and Man City being just very, very good. Obviously, it was very hot as well, you know, which didn't help. You know, the team who has the ball the most suffers less in the heat. West Ham they just didn't offer anything, to be honest. You know, when you look at Jared Bowen, is he really going to... I'm not saying he's going to want to leave West Ham, but do you think he's thinking a little bit, I don't really want to play like this. I'm a bit more of an attacking player. I'm a player who wants to be on the ball more often because, I mean, he just wasn't in that game at all yesterday. And I can see him... I don't think he's going to be a player who enjoys that, really. They play Nottingham Forest away next week. They should be back to the West Ham we expect, which is a defensive team, but a team that does attack as well. They just didn't attack yesterday against Man City, really. So it'll be interesting to see how they do there. Now let's move on to Bournemouth versus Aston Villa. 2-0 Bournemouth. They get a win on the comeback in the Premier League. And Scott Parker is a manager who I've always been really impressed with. Whenever I've seen him giving a team talk or talking to his players, I've just always been really impressed. Obviously, there's that one for Fulham against Liverpool away at Anfield when they beat them 1-0. And I seen a video of him talking to his players in training about being together and working for each other. And he's just always looked like a manager you want to work for. And on the overlap as well, you know, we saw Gary Neville. Don't know if you've seen it, but he said that when he was obviously a coach with England under Roy Hodgson, that Scott Parker was there as well, and everyone was sort of really impressed with how he did. His management, they were just really impressed with him, and he's one of the most talented coaches that they've seen in years, apparently. On the contrary, Gerrard is a manager who is going to be feeling the pressure, because that Aston Villa team is so much better on paper than what is being displayed on the pitch at the moment. I mean, they conceded within 3 minutes. It's just really not how you want to start your Premier League campaign. He's not going to get sacked yet, obviously, but this game has kick-started that pressure already. Every game from here now Gerrard is in, there will be pressure, because that is a good Aston Villa team. To me, he's playing the wrong team. I don't think Coutinho should be playing left wing. I think he should be in the middle. I think Ollie Watkins should be on the left. I think Danny Ings should be up front. I think Bailey should be on the right. And I think Danny Ings, what has happened to Danny Ings? I mean, when he was at Southampton, Burnley, Liverpool, Klopp has always said he's a fantastic player. He was good at Burnley. He did really well at Southampton, nearly won the Golden Boot 1 year. 2 seasons there, he scored a lot of goals. Premier League goals as well, and he's arrived at Villa. I thought it was a great signing, but he just hasn't delivered at all. He's been really unclinical. He's just not looked like the same Danny Ings. Is it an age thing? Is his injuries catching up to him? I'm not sure, but I can't see him turning this form around as it stands. If you look at the average positions for Bournemouth and Aston Villa, you can see that Bournemouth's shape is perfect. It really is perfect. Whereas you look at Aston Villa's, and it's not. It's nowhere near perfect. You've got Jacob Ramsey playing so deep for some reason, and you can see there's a gap in that 10 area. There's just no one around there to link that creativity to the attacking players. I mean, they had more possession, Villa. They had a lot more possession, but nothing happened. And there's just a big gap in the middle of the pitch. I think they needed Coutinho or Buendia in there just to link, just to sort of try and create something. Look at Kiefer Moore, got his goal for Bournemouth. I thought it was poor defending from Aston Villa. But, a free... You cannot give Kiefer Moore a free header in the box. I mean, that's just poor, isn't it? He's one of the best headers probably in the Premier League. He's one of the tallest players, and there's no one on him. That just doesn't make any sense at all. Good goal from him, though. He's off the mark in the Premier League. And a great start for Bournemouth. It really is. Now, the last game I sort of want to discuss a little bit more of is Man United versus Brighton. Now, Brighton, I thought, were fantastic on the ball. They just looked so impressive. I mean, Graham Potter really is one of the best managers in the Premier League. He's just done such a good job there. You can see how well oiled they are, how well drilled. On the ball, they just looked so confident, so composed, knew what to do. They just kept making the right passes every single time. There was barely a pass where I thought they got wrong. And that's just with losing 2 of his best players as well. They've just lost a fullback. Got great money for him, obviously, but they've lost him and they've lost Bissouma. However, they've replaced Bissouma extremely well because Caicedo, what a performance on his debut. I was so impressed with him. My first time seeing him play, and he was just an absolute monster in that midfield. He was just a really complete performance. He won 11 duels, which is huge. He made 3 key passes as well, which is just massive, and also made 4 tackles and 3 interceptions as well. I mean, he just ran that midfield. And you look at Man United. How have Brighton got Caicedo? How have Brighton replaced Bissouma, a great midfielder, with Caicedo, who's had a phenomenal performance? And then Manchester United are playing Fred and McTominay in midfield. Still, I think it just shows where Manchester United are really. I think let's get on to them. I mean, same old Manchester United. They've come into the first game with McFred in midfield, and I was so out of form Rashford on the left wing, and Christian Eriksen up front. I mean, what is going on at that club? For me, I think you have to start Eriksen in midfield as a centre mid, like he did at Brentford, where you can just give him the ball, and it's a very safe player to give the ball to. He'll be there for the second balls that people head away from corners, and he can swing in across, which we saw a few times. And I think for now it will have to be not for nows. For now, I think it'll have to be Eriksen and Fred in the midfield because. Or Rabiot, they're going for Rabiot today. And obviously, I think we should talk about Marcus Rashford a little bit because terrible season last year for him. He had a summer break, and I thought maybe he could come back. I didn't think he would come back and do well. I just thought, this is your chance now. You've had a break, you've had your summer off, can you come back? And he just hasn't done it. And it really does remind me of Dele Alli, because Dele Alli is a player who used to be very instinctive with his finishing. He never used to think about it because he was just playing with such freedom, such confidence. So anytime the ball came to him, he just finished it because he didn't have to think about it. Now, with Dele Alli, because there's so much pressure on him to score, and his first blip, he's had this since his first blip without a goal, because he needs a goal so desperately, it's like he thinks about the goal too much before he shoots. And I think that's exactly the same thing that's happening with Rashford. I mean, you saw the ball from Ronaldo he gave him across the box, Rashford straight to the keeper. The ball from Bruno, I think, he just volleys it over. I think he's just thinking about getting a goal rather than it being an instinctive thing for him. And I mean, he used to be, he's so talented. In the 1920 season, I mean, he was at one point one of the best attackers in the league. There was a game against Spurs where, I mean, he was just completely unplayable. And now he's unplayable because he shouldn't be on the pitch. He shouldn't be on the pitch for Manchester United. I do want to discuss actually just a bit before we go on to the next bit that Danny Welbeck was fantastic. And so was every other Brighton player. I thought Danny Welbeck was man of the match, but I thought Trossard, I thought Lewis Dunk was great. I thought Pascal Gross was fantastic as well. But Adam Lallana was incredible, I thought. But I just thought 1-11 Man United just were bad. I thought De Gea's distribution was awful. I thought he could have saved the second goal, so I don't think he had a particularly good game. Maguire isn't Manchester United standard in a back four. He's just too slow. And too many times the ball across the... How many times have we seen Man United concede a goal from a ball across the box? Way too many times. Way too many times. And also, how didn't Brighton get a penalty? I mean, VAR. VAR. I mean, that is such a simple thing to get right. I mean, he's just pushed him in the back, in the box. It's clearly a penalty. Everyone thinks it's a penalty, but the referee and the refs and the VAR. It just doesn't make any sense, does it? It doesn't make any sense at all. So these are the 5 topics really I wanted to discuss because I've seen all of the games, but we can go into other teams a little bit more as well. I thought Leicester, I mean, to drop 2 points to Brentford at home, being 2-0 up. I mean, I just think that is so poor. So poor. I had them 6th in my predictions. I thought this could be the year they come back. But I mean that such a poor result. That Newcastle, I really think St James's Park will be a massive fortress for them. Teams are going to struggle a lot to go to St James's Park and pick up a win. And they looked good. 2 brilliant goals, by the way. Shah's goal, fantastic, and Callum Wilson's felt very underrated, just a lovely finish over the keeper. I love them type of goals with just a cheeky finish, over the keeper. One of them ones. Everton versus Chelsea, of course, which was, I could have spoke about that because I watched it, but I mean, it was just the most boring game of the weekend, wasn't it? Which you expect really from Chelsea, not from Everton. Why play counter-attacking football and put Gordon up front? We saw Anfield, Anthony Gordon on the wing, make up so much ground and helped Everton so much on the wing, on the left-hand side. And you do it against Chelsea, but this time you stick him up front. I mean, he just had nothing to work with. So that just didn't make any sense to me at all. I thought Everton were bad, to be honest. I didn't think... I thought they should have started Dele Alli, to be honest, and then put Gordon on the wing. Let's go on to Chelsea. I wasn't that impressed with them either. Obviously, the defence was great. Thiago Silva obviously had a few very good moments. So did Koulibaly. Chelsea have one of the best defence in the league. One of the best defences in the league. We know that. So you always expect them to be good defensively. And I was impressed with Koulibaly on his debut. Expected more from Chilwell and James, to be honest. I thought they were quite poor, actually. I was expecting a lot more from them. I thought Sterling was a massive positive for Chelsea. I think he took a lot of players out of the game at times. I thought his dribbling was fantastic. Just obviously, at times, there was just not enough around him to get the goal. Leeds versus Wolves looked a good game, actually, when I watched it on Match of the Day. I thought Aronson, I thought he looked quite good, actually. I was quite impressed by him. Seemed to just be someone who's happy to make up ground, do a lot of running for the team. Brilliant goal by Wolves, by the way. I mean, there was just 4 passes there, which was like world class, and then an incredible finish by Podence. Neto was a positive for Wolves. I think we've all seen that piece of skill that he did, which was just amazing. But I've got some little awards sort of to go for the game week. For me, the player of the round was Alexander Mitrovic for that incredible performance against Liverpool. For goal of the round, I've gone for Fabian Schär against, who did they play? Nottingham Forest. I thought that was an amazing goal. And which signing impressed me the most on game week 1? Look, obviously, Haaland was amazing, right? But I expected it from him. I thought he would do that. Whereas Caicedo, I hadn't watched him before, and he was incredible for Brighton. So I'm going to go Caicedo as the player who impressed me the most out of the new signings. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe if you're new. And thank you for watching.